Joining the next chapter today is former NFL safety and current ESPN NFL analyst, Louis Riddick. Hi, Louis. It's so good to see you. I wish we were reuniting on better terms, but how are you, the wife, and the kiddos holding up?
Yeah, it's been interesting, Prim, and it's nice to see you too and catch up with you. I remember our days all the way back in that little room down there in Building 4 at ESPN doing those digital hits. We've both come a long way. It's been great. As far as current conditions, I mean, everyone's holding up fine. It's very unique. It's a very unique situation right now. Kids are always so resilient. They kind of go with the flow. They ask some questions, but they kind of go with the flow. I think it's us adults that really are the ones who have to adjust the most sometimes because we're so used to being in our routines and having our way of doing things. And now all that's been interrupted and disrupted for obvious reasons, and everyone's having to adjust. So it's been unique to say the least.
You're a very disciplined and very hardworking individual. I feel like you're one of those people that really rises to the occasion, especially you being a former professional athlete. But even during periods of adversity, something like this, it is impossible not to be affected or impacted by this physically, mentally. But what's been the biggest challenge for you personally in all of this?
I think it's, Prim, how athletes overall, regardless of whether you've been a professional or not, everybody craves structure, right? Everyone likes to have a schedule. Everyone likes to know that when they get up, they have to be somewhere and know what time they need to be there. And a lot of times that involves physically leaving your house and going somewhere. And when you don't have to do that, you have to create that structure for yourself. Otherwise, what can actually wind up happening, I've seen people talk about this, is you kind of lose track of what day it is, what time of the day it is, and what you're supposed to be doing. And next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock. You haven't showered. You're still in like some sweats. And you're going, wait a minute. What am I supposed to be doing? That's been the biggest challenge. That's the one thing that I've been trying to make sure that I myself are very much so aware of, so I can kind of keep moving throughout the day. Look, right now, I mean, I'm in the middle of draft preparation, right? So this is a really busy time of year for me. And if I'm not careful, next thing you know, it'll be 1 or 2 o'clock and I haven't gotten a lot done because obviously you're making sure that the family's okay. You're trying to keep up on what's going on with everything surrounding the pandemic. And you're trying to get a workout. You're trying to do all kinds of things that really will take away from doing the things inside a structure like you normally would. And you can really get off base and wind up wasting a bunch of days in a row. So that's really been the biggest challenge that I've worked hard to try and make sure I keep it a little bit normal for me that way.
Yeah, I want to touch on the NFL draft in just a second. I mean, that's crazy, the fact that they're even moving forward with that, with everything else being at a standstill, but at least fortunately they're able to move forward with that. But when talking about the structure, and this information is not just for athletes, but for anybody else listening out there. As you said, that's going to be the biggest challenge, I think, for a lot of people, is trying to create that structure. What type of advice would you have to offer to people that will create that sense of structure so it becomes much easier to deal with all of this?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, when you going all the way back to high school and college, people will tell you if you write things down, it kind of imprints a little bit more on your brain and kind of really, you kind of adopt that's what you need to do. It's a way to learn. It's a way to remind yourself that this is what you need to do. And maybe that's one of the things I used to tell young scouts this all the time, who had problems with time management. Write down during the course of a day what you want to get accomplished the night before you go to bed or when you get up that morning. And I always have index cards sitting around my desk where I will sit down and just jot down certain players that I want to look at, what time I want to work out, when as a family we're going to eat, what time do I need to run to the grocery store if need be. And so I can just peek at it so I can just kind of regiment my day and not be just wandering aimlessly throughout the course of the day and not getting anything done. I think when you write things down, it really does imprint on your subconscious and on your conscious mind and reminds you, this is what I need to do. These are the times I need to get it done. Because if you don't, look, maybe not everybody has to do that kind of thing. I just know it helps me. Yeah. And it kind of like literally gives you something visually to look at and go, okay, this is what I need to do. Because look, it's the one word I've heard Prim people use, and it may have been someone on TV, maybe it was a newscaster someone used, was that this whole situation can be very disorienting. And it kind of makes you kind of just be bebopping from one thing to the next, because there's no certainty with anything right now. Everything's just on up in the air, and you have to orient yourself and force yourself to be more structured and more regimented in what you're doing. Because if you don't, you just kind of wind up wandering around in the melees with everyone else and everything else, and you can't afford to do that.
Yeah, for our family right now, it's my husband and our 18-month-old crazy active toddler, and then we also have a dog here, and we're living in very close quarters. So now my husband and I, we had to pull our son out of daycare, so now we're really having to get creative and work as a team, and we work on shifts. We got up at 4:50 in the morning. So today was literally the first day that I wrote out, I don't know if you can see it, you can't see it, but I wrote out everything. 4:50 a.m. wake up, journal, coffee. 5:30, 6:30 home workout. 6:30 prepared Duke's breakfast. 6:40. I mean, it's like to the T. Where I think
you're already doing it.
I mean, but that's how I think that comes from just my like OCD personality, but also the athlete in me, where it helps me. So that way, like 4:50, I can check that off, and it makes me feel productive, and it keeps me in order in a time where nothing is in order.
Yeah. You definitely, you have to do that, because I'm telling you, like right now, none of us have ever lived through this kind of thing. Obviously, most of our elders, whether it be our mothers, grandmothers, grandparents, they've never lived through anything like this. No one has a book on what to do right now as a society, as a human race. We just don't know what this is going to look like, tomorrow, let alone 5-6 months from now. So the only thing you can really do is rely on the kind of things that make you feel as though you're being productive and keep you in the right space mentally and physically. I've put on social media a couple different times, if nothing else coming out of this, I'm going to be the most in shape son of a gun that there's ever been, because I have just been. That's one of the things that also has helped me. It's amazing how your physical well-being will help your mental well-being and help you feel better about everything else. Peloton, been my best friend. Dusting off P90X and working on those things, been my best friends, because that at least helps you feel as though you're still working towards some of the things that you would do in a normal environment. And all those kind of things, all the things that are really your base, the things that provide you some kind of fundamental base to make you feel good and be able to attack everything else, are the things you have to rely on right now. And writing things down, organizing your day, taking care of yourself mentally, physically, eating well, practicing just good communication skills, taking walks, you can get outside. Obviously, you can't go and, hang out, or it's not advised for you to hang out in big groups, but you have to keep some kind of normalcy and take care of yourself in this time period. So when it's over, you don't come out of it all disoriented and having fallen behind in so many different areas. And I hope people are doing that. It seems like people are doing that right now. Yeah. That's why I'm just hoping this doesn't last much longer, because it's going to test everyone's resilience as this moves along here week after week. And you're afraid that people will start kind of cracking a little bit and kind of getting away from some of that discipline. And I've heard people talk about that. That's one of the scary things to come from all this.
Yeah, that's a really good perspective. I didn't think about like the crack, like people cracking. And we've been experiencing this, at least for us here in New York City. I would say this is probably like the third week, maybe almost a month, but around the third week. And I would say it was about 5 days ago when I had like my first crack in the morning, where I just like in the morning, 6 a.m., 6:30, my toddler's getting a little overactive, work's piling on, we can't go outside. And then you also have to be super paranoid about just like germs and protecting the family. I'm not gonna lie, I like broke down and cried. I had to get it out. I was like, how am I going to get myself together? But, there's not a lot of normalcy right now. Although the one piece of normalcy that's going on in the sports world, ironically and oddly, is the NFL draft. And that's scheduled to take place on April 23rd. And it's going to be very unique, Louis, because everything's going to be done remotely. Teams are going to have to be making big decisions without a lot of normal intel about these prospects. What are your thoughts on them moving forward with this?
Yeah, the league, it's interesting. They've been very consistent, Prim, with keeping things on schedule, saying that there's no guarantee that things in the future will look any better than things do presently. So why not just continue to move forward? Obviously, take the necessary precautions, but just continue to move forward. And actually, I've actually heard them say that, look, people need sports in some form or fashion right now, some form of distraction, because otherwise what happens is like you just talked about, the weight of how big everything is right now from a society perspective will really start coming down on people and making them not feel very good, and making them start doing things, maybe making decisions that they don't want to make. So I think I understand it from that standpoint. I also understand the side of things where people say, well, why doesn't the league shut down like everyone else? I also understand that too. But this is where we are, so this is what we deal with, right? So for me, it's been I would be lying if I said it wasn't challenging to sometimes, put myself in this office where I'm at right now and continue to grind through my draft preparation the same way that I normally have, because it has been challenging. There's no doubt about that. But if the draft is going to go on, I need to be prepared. I don't know what the draft is going to look like myself. I don't know if ESPN knows what the draft is going to look like and how we're going to televise it, where we're all going to be, what it's going to look like. I mean, those are all things they still have to work out. I just know this. I need to know who the players are. I need to be able to talk about them in a way, that suits the viewer and makes the viewer feel like, okay, we're getting the same information we normally do. But there's no question it's a challenge. And I'm actually thankful that it is this time of year right now, that it is the draft time for me to be busy, because otherwise, without having that kind of thing, knowing that I have to get that done, look, I'm one of those people who needs to be doing something. I can only sit around for so long. And if I didn't have this to really prepare for, yeah, I may be having some of those episodes too that you talk about, just like, what is going on, and we need to do something, because I'm a proactive type A person, man, who I get frustrated just like everyone else. Like, what are we doing? I mean, are we, because if you can't see things being done, and there's things being done to kind of help us get out of this as a society, but if you can't really see it and you can't participate in it, it's really hard, man. And I'm thankful for the fact that we are kind of carrying on business, because I have something then to really continue to push me forward every day, besides obviously taking care of my family, which is number one.
Yeah, no, I'm a type A personality too, a little OCD-ish, like I mentioned before. That's why you and I get along. We've gotten along very well for many years. That's probably why. Absolutely. Business will move forward as best as we can. So with that in mind, we'd like to have a little fun. I think it's really important for all of us to bring a little levity to the situation and laugh. So we've been doing a little quarantine crib questions. Are you ready, Louis?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All
ready.
right.
Let's do it.
Well, number one, where's your favorite spot in the house? What's been your favorite spot during all of this?
Yeah, right now it's been exactly where I'm at right now. I spend most of my time in this office that I'm in.
Let's see it. Don't be afraid to do a little show and tell now.
It's interesting. Yeah, you know what? It's kind of funny, because this is the spot where I've had this thing kind of constructed right here, this bookshelf here that people see on TV.
I like it.
It's funny because I cut off some of the junk that's around it. It looks real cool on TV, but there's actually the
stockpiling of toilet paper underneath the desk.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually, as a matter of fact, what I'm sitting this computer on right now, so we can do this chat, is actually it is toilet paper. As a matter of fact,
not shocking.
There's my computer screen. I have this thing that was a present to me years and years ago that has my jersey from Oakland, and there's my helmets up there, and a bunch of family photo albums.
Is that the TV screen that you use for ESPN?
This right here.
Yeah.
Behind, let me see. Hold on. That right there. Yeah, that's my camera.
That's great.
That's an iPad, and that's the the lighting things right there.
That's great.
Yeah, they got it all. They came and set this whole thing up, man. It's cool. It looks real high tech on TV. It's really not, but it is. If you know what I mean. It's amazing to me what they can do nowadays with technology. It's insane how they can make things seem so extravagant when really it's pretty darn simple. It really is. So this is where I hang out most of my day. Otherwise, I mean, I'm out and about in the house, go outside and shoot baskets with my boy. And I mean, it's a pretty simple life right now. I mean, it's really working, taking care of the family, going to the grocery store, trying to stay safe, checking in with mom, checking in with the sisters. I mean, I think my life is no different than everyone else's. Yeah. And you're just kind of wondering, you're just hoping everyone else is doing the same things that you are. So that's it for me, man. It's really, it's football and family and keeping up to date with what's going on.
I like it. Do you have a comfort toy right now? Something that, in A Few Good Men, he's got the bat that helps his mind go, or something that provides you a little security?
Maybe you know what? Yeah, something that surprised me, security. See this right here? You see that?
What is that?
It's called a cowboy remote. It's for a film watching system that I have, to watch tape.
No way.
That's my thing. I have this in my hand.
That looks like a toy. I thought that was like one of your kids'
what
toys.
This is? It has a rewind button, fast forward button. It has a laser on it that I can point at my screen. This thing is in my hand probably of the time I'm awake, maybe 75, 80% of the time. So yeah, I'm constantly fidgeting with this thing and taking the laser and pointing it up on the ceiling.
So it's not even like a normal remote control. Like you don't even just watch that.
It almost looks like a game remote of some kind.
It does.
But that's what it is. This is probably the thing that I'm holding all the time nowadays with all this draft prep. But I would say that, that's either in my hand or this damn phone is in my hand. I mean, what else do we have in life right now, right?
No, for real. I have to say that's the best comfort toy that we've seen so far in this series.
I'm just telling you. See, I don't even know if that's really comfort. It's kind of like a necessity. Because, like I said, I got to get my stuff done, and I'm trying to think what else would I really have.
Maybe like a football. How about a football? A specific pen?
Everywhere, I got footballs everywhere, and I got boxes of pens, and I lose those things as much as anything. But this would have to be it. This is always in my hand.
That's a good one.
This is always in my hand.
All right, last one. Who do you think we should interview next? Who would you like to tag next?
Wow, there's a bunch of different people. You know what? You know who you should tag. I think a guy who right now is really trying to figure out, how to do his job, and he's more important than maybe anyone at ESPN right now because he has all the info. Have you talked to Adam? Have you talked to Schefter?
No.
That's who you should do.
That's a great one.
He's up there in New York. He's up there in New York too. I mean, he's right there in the middle of things. He's still the guy who's on TV every day breaking all the different news stories and stuff. This is a guy who's always on the move. So I can only imagine how he's feeling trying to stay in his place and not go anywhere. He's a guy who has 2 phones in his hands all the time. He's actually kind of funny. I tagged him just the other day on that push-up challenge, and he did you're only supposed to do 10. He did 30 of them. Although they were kind of sorry.
Like you wouldn't have done the same thing too.
I did. I only did 10. I did 10 right after I got off my Peloton. I was sweating all over the place.
We did 35.
Yeah, there you go. You should do him.
That's a great one.
Adam actually has an interesting. I mean, you know how it is.
I do.
That guy's connected with everyone. Him and Woj. I mean, those are probably 2 good guys you should do right there because they're right on the front lines as far as getting information, man.
Those type of guys, that's a great one. As far as when I started at ESPN in 2011 and I started working with him. He was the one person, and that was 2011. That's almost 10 years ago, crazily.
Yeah.
But he would always have 2 phones. And in the middle of our segment, I would be asking a question. He'd be tweeting out.
Oh, he'll do it on live TV.
Yeah. And he'll be like, I got to go. We got to go. Adrian Peterson is getting traded. I got to go.
You want to know what's interesting? Adam's kind of changed how you can act on TV because of it. Because if you notice now, everyone on TV, if you watch me on SportsCenter or on NFL Live or Monday Night Countdown, I'll be doing a segment and have my phone in my hand.
You have to.
Literally, wait. You know how some people hold a pen when you're doing TV, right? Because you just need something to hold on to. Most people use phones now, and it's kind of very acceptable. And the reason why is because that's what Schefter always does.
100%.
He'll be talking in the middle of a segment and looking down at his phone and be like, today, Tony, and I do the same thing. That he's changed what's kind of acceptable on TV because of that.
That's such a fantastic point. Well done, Louis. Well, it's been so fun catching up. I'm so happy to hear that you're doing well and you're healthy, most importantly, and also your family. Take care of yourself and keep doing good work. I see you on social media. You're always saying wonderful things. So keep plugging away and miss you over there.
Absolutely. All right. We'll catch up again soon. Thanks,
Bye.
Frank. All right.